Okay guys, I'm going to do a quick video on what different data types we have to start in Python and the variables, assigning them to variables. So the first thing I got here is age equals 5, and age is a name I've given a variable, and that's pretty much how we start making a variable is we just kind of give it a name. Now the name has to start with a letter, and the convention is we start with a lowercase letter when we write our variables with lowercase letters. Now sometimes we might make it, as long as it leads with a letter is fine, so another variable name would be something like x1. So 1 is obviously not a regular letter, but this would be a valid variable name as well, as long as it starts with a letter and we should make our letters in lowercase. But what type of data is age? Well, in this case, I've assigned it the value 5, and I haven't put a decimal on the end. So age is an integer, okay? So that's our first data type is an integer. And I can show the type of data by printing the type that age is. So that this will type will return the type of data that age is, and I'm obviously printing it to the screen. So if I run this, I can see that it calls it the class int. So an integer in Python we refer to as int, and that's what will pop up, and that kind of makes some sense. So the next one we have done is a string, and a string is some text. So our name could be, I can put some text in here for our name, Jerry the Cowboy. But right now the Python doesn't understand the difference between, say, looking at name and looking at Jerry the Cowboy and thinking of it as something different than us assigning a variable or something like that. So we have to kind of put it in either single quotations or we can put it in double quotations, and they will accept both, which is kind of nice. And notice how it makes it in a different color. So that Jerry the Cowboy is a string, and it's made up of characters, and there's a difference between something made up of characters and something that is a number like age 5, because the operations we can do on it. We can do operations like add 5 to something, but we wouldn't really be adding Jerry the Cowboy to, say, another number. It would give us an error. So I could print the name to the screen, and I could also print the type that name is, and it will give me the type of data, and we'll see what pops up, and it calls it class str, which stands for string. So string str. And the next one is what we call a float, and it is a type of number. And so we'll do, what's a good number here? We'll do a score, and from the Russian judge we got a 6.7. So by typing it in with a decimal, Python knows that score is different than age, which we typed in without a decimal. And it will treat it differently. It will treat it as a float, so it'll assign a different value to it, a different, data type to it. So if I print the type score and I run that, I will get float as the data type. Now, if we wanted to, say, make age and have a little more precision to it, but we still knew, like, it was our birthday and we turned 5, but we wanted to use it as a float, well, we just add 0.0 to it. You see now when I run my program that my integer is now a float, or age is now a float. Okay? And I would say that is all she wrote.